feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it go. Spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now.
Hi everyone, welcome. If you are new here, I'm so happy to have you. If you're my pre-existing subscriber, welcome back, family. I'm so happy to have you back. So in today's video, we're going to be specifically focusing on Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin. Now, everything will be kind of like, all the questions here will be very specific to the two candidates and the two senators, actually. So today, if you were wondering what we're going to be covering in today's video, you can go down to the description. There will be timestamps as well in the description below if you wanted to just jump to a particular question. If you did not know already and you have not watched my other videos, this is Spacey. He is our little component to bring a little bit of happiness and joy to you. Please keep in mind that you will be put to sleep right when we start our readings today, so you don't have to worry about any sort of distraction. So he agreed with me. But anyway, this video is being live streamed on February 1st, 2021 at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And here are some quick disclaimers on your screen as well, just so I don't get in trouble by YouTube. This video is just for entertainment purposes only and for education purposes only as well. Please keep in mind as well that I do have a poll up in the community page as well. Okay, anyway, besides the point, I have a poll up in my community page. If you have not voted, please go vote. These are just suggested videos, just so I have an idea where you guys lie and what you guys want to see in our next upcoming big event video. So go over there and don't forget to vote. And you can also as well drop a video request on what you want to see next as well. Or you can go down to my video website and you can actually put it there as well. That is two options that you can do in a great way. Now, another third option as well is that you can join my Facebook group. If you are interested, it's a great way to join members who think just alike as you. And to also as well, you get free personal readings when I go live on Facebook only. So that is a perk there, and it is free to join if you have Facebook. Now, people seem to think that I want to know their identity. I do not want to know your identity, so it does not matter, so you can feel safe when you're with me. But anyway, besides the point, if you have forgot already who Kyrsten Sinema is, she is the current senator of Arizona. She won her Democratic bid for the Senate seat, the first Democratic flip of the night in 2018 during Donald Trump's midterm election. She was known to be one of those progressive type Democrats who ended up turning out to be more of those moderate type Republican Democrats. We also have here as well, we have Senator Joe Manchin from the state of West Virginia. He's been a long-time Democrat, a very conservative one, to say the least. He's also bipartisan, but he is more of a maverick for the Republican Party, meaning that he's more likely to vote on Republican issues than Democratic ones. And it makes sense because he lived in a heavily Republican state. Back then, when he first ran in 1996, it was a heavily Democratic state, but it is no longer now, as Donald Trump has won that state by 40% in the most recent election. But besides the point, let's jump into today's video. Again, if you guys are wondering what I'll be covering in today's video, just jump into the comment section. Everything will be listed there below. Without further ado, let's jump in. So for the first question that we're going to ask today is, will Kyrsten Sinema support Biden's new Supreme Court nominee? Now, we're going to be jumping between the two candidates, talking about we're going to be jumping between the two candidates and kind of talking about both Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, just kind of jumping back and forth to kind of get that even harmony, so to speak. Hi, Betty. Hi, Shannon. What's up, love? It's been a long time since I've seen you guys. Welcome back. Okay, so let's take a quick look. Will Kyrsten Sinema, the senator of Arizona, will she support Biden's brand new nominee to the Supreme Court? Okay, so it feels like in the past that she is very well known to shut down a lot of Biden's agenda. However, it feels like in some ways she does not want this to be like one of her nails in the coffin, so to speak. Like this will be one of those things that will put Kyrsten Sinema in a very bad position if she was to run for re-election. Now, there are two interpretations here that I see that I did get here, that this is her in her past. This is her being very disruptive, trying to destroy any sort of legacy that Biden's building, We have here as well, she doesn't like the candidate that is being chosen. And so she might actually say that, oh, no, that is not my pick. This is who I want instead. I almost feel like she's picking the candidate rather than Joe Biden. We also have here as well in the end, she will get her vote with the majority. So whatever the majority is, she'll be voting for. So if the majority says no, she'll be voting with the majority. If the majority says yes, she will be voting with the majority in that aspect. So as of now, I feel like Kyrsten Sinema is more of a follower than an actual leader. Now, as for Joe Manchin, let's take a look at Joe Manchin. Will he be supporting Biden's new Supreme Court nominee? Okay, so the first question that we have here today is, will Joe Manchin be supporting Biden's Supreme Court nominee? And as of right now, it kind of doesn't give me a clear answer. Can I have a yes or no, please? No. I feel like something happened, like he's at a trip, he kind of like does not show up. In some way, I feel like he does not show up to the vote. Something happened. We have to hear the 5 of Pentacles. I do feel like in some way he might be really sick and he might get ill, and he might have to take a force of absence or a leave of absence, which might be pretty dangerous because that means the Democrats won't have that 50% threshold that they need. Well, actually, yeah, they do. They need one Republican to cross over then. We have here as well, we have the page of swords here. We have that upright. He kind of like that brand new guy who's finally able to grab power and kind of like almost like strangle the Senate in some way and strangle Biden. Almost feel like he loves this power that he has. We have here as well is that it's not uncertain about the Supreme Court choice. It just feels like he's not like, the best way I could put it, it doesn't feel like in some way like he has a lot of control. It feels like a lot of his people who sponsor him, who give him money, who basically put food on his table, is the one who's going to help dictate what his decision is. However, I do feel like as well, Joe Manchin also has freedom of will here, so that means he can make his own decision as well. I feel like he might have a little bit of free room here. We have at the end of the deck, we have 2 of wands here. He might take a leave of absence. He actually might announce that he is resigning because of age or something related to along those lines. We have here as well, we have temperance. This looks like a no to me as of right now. It looks like no, he will not support Biden's new Supreme Court nominee. He might even go as far as to say that we should take our time and that, we should let this next election in 2022 determine who Biden should pick for the Supreme Court. And it feels like Joe Biden is going to try to do whatever he can to screw Biden over. So that's what I see. Now, the next question that we have here is, will Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema decide to join the Republican Party? Now, that is the main question of today's video, but we do have a lot more questions, so stay tuned for the rest of the video. I promise you it's going to be good. So, will Kyrsten Sinema decide to join the Republican Party? Will Kyrsten Sinema decide to join the Republican Party? Will she decide to join the Republican Party? Okay. Will Joe Manchin decide to, this will be Kyrsten Sinema, Joe Manchin. Will Joe Manchin decide to join the Republican Party? If any of these senators decide to flip, it automatically makes the Senate go red, which makes it Republican, and it will be basically a majority leader, Mitch McConnell. Okay, will Joe Manchin decide to flip to the Republican Party? Will he flip to the Republican Party? And we have one here. Now, as for this, I'm going to use my own homemade deck as well to kind of get a little bit more of a deeper perspective. Will Kyrsten Sinema decide to flip to the Republican Party? Okay. Okay, and one more. All right. Now, will Joe Manchin decide to flip to the Republican Party? Just kind of get more of a deeper understanding of why they make these choices if they were to make them. Okay. Yeah. All right. I think we have a clear understanding here. All right. So, we have here for Kyrsten Sinema. Let's do Kyrsten Sinema first. We have this page of Pentacles. She's not getting support and money that she wants from the Democratic Party. And so she kind of, in a way, receiving that money from the Republican Party or the GOP sponsors and endorsers. We have here as well with this paper story. She's going to hold on to the Democratic Party as long as she has power over them. She's not really going to let go. So she is going to remain a Democrat for as long as she can hold power, almost like become a leader or like basically kind of be like that block within getting legislation done. It feels like as long as she has that power, she will do and remain a Democrat. We also have here as well with the third card. We have the Ten of Pentacles reversed. And what's it kind of telling me? She has no loyalty to any party. It's not even her loyalty to her job. No loyalty to her constituents. No loyalty to any gender, any specific genre. It does feel like in some way, though, that this card resembles the fact that excuse me. This resembles to me, and it kind of tells me here that she kind of like doesn't really care about the history of the U.S., doesn't really care about what damage it could do in the long term. She just talks about money. That's really what it feels here. Now, as of her flipping to the Republican Party, we have domestic terrorist attack. And I almost feel like that is what's going to be one of her main focuses on. Maybe potentially there's going to be one that occurs, and then she's going to blame President Biden potentially and say that he didn't do enough, and that she's flipping for that particular reason to gain some sort of public support on the Republican Party side. We have here unsolved mysteries, so she is causing problems here, particularly when it comes to voting rights, right? We do have here drugs and alcohol addiction. Potentially, she could be it could potentially mean that she is doing some sort of these things. Maybe this potentially could mean of her background, her own history. It could be very well as the shadow government. So it could be one of the either one. Then we do have here as well, we do have the electoral college margin. Eventually, she's going to end up costing either the Democrats the Senate or giving them a 52 majority, basically telling her that she does not have any power, which may mean that she may end up flipping for that own particular reason because the lack of control within the Democratic Party feels like she can't dictate them anymore. So now as for Joe Manchin here, we have whether or not he's going to flip to the Republican Party. So as of now, I do see the Kyrsten Sinema, just give you a little wrap up. Kyrsten Sinema is going to stay Democratic as long as she has control over the party. Then once she loses power, she's going to flip. Now for Joe Manchin, we have here the three cups here. We have here Joe Manchin lately has been not having a steady support in election results. And so that one of his motives is the election itself, whether or not he is electable going forward. We have here as well, we have the King of Pentacles. Joe Manchin is no longer going to be supported by the Democratic Party, and it feels like he already knows that his time is out, and the Democrats are not going to fund his next election, which is in 2024. And it does feel like in some way or some form that he may just be one of those lost causes, and the Republicans might try to do whatever they can to either oust him or keep him by funding him as long as they can get him to flip Republican. Now, as for the final outcome card here, even though Joe Manchin has a very strong history with the Democratic Party, he will ultimately flip just because of politics sake. We have here as well that we have the 50-50 Senate. It's funny how we have 52 and 50-50. It talks about here the fact that this is his power right now, that he's able to be that deciding factor in whether things get passed or not. We have here, we're asking with whether or not he's going to flip Republican. We have a yes, he will end up flipping to the Republican Party at some point. And we do have his electoral college because he wants to make sure that he can be elected. Remember, his Senate seat was in a highly Republican state that voted for Donald Trump in the 2020 election by 40%. So he's going to really need to be on the Republican Party even to win going forward. So it does feel like in some way that Joe Manchin is looking at it more of a political aspect of trying to make sure that he had the career, where Kyrsten Sinema is doing it just as an FU to the Democrats. That's kind of what it feels like in terms of my energy and what her energy is like. So yeah, let me know what you guys get. Let me know if you guys agree with that, or you get something different, or stuff like that. I would love to hear what you guys get. So let's jump on to the next question. The next question that we have here is: will Sinema be primary for her Senate seat, which is up in 2025? Now, the last time I read on Kyrsten Sinema, I got that she was going to run for re-election in 2024. and she was going to be primary at the time. This was a year and a half ago. So she was going to be primary, and I said that she was not going to be very well liked by the Democratic Party, and therefore she's going to be out from the Democratic Party, meaning that she won't be in the next election when she runs for her re-election bid, and another Democrat would take her place. However, I do see that she might run as an independent to try to bring down the Democratic candidate, or she might actually just flip to the Republican and run against her Democratic primary opponent into the general election. So let's take a look. Will Kyrsten Sinema be primary for her Senate seat, which is up in 2025? So let's see. Yes, she will be primary. Will she lose? Will she lose her primary, the Democratic primary? Will Kyrsten Sinema lose the Democratic primary? Yes, she will lose her Democratic primary. All right, so we have the page of Pentacles, right? She was giving us empty promises. She did not deliver. She was very competitive, did not allow or honor her state and the people who elected her to do the thing that she was elected to do. So all those people who voted for her the first time are going to take their vote and give it to somebody else. The new candidate was actually has already announced and has already had a massive war chest and funding to fight her. So it does feel like he is going to end up winning and unseat her. And I asked, will she end up losing the Democratic primary? And as of now, it says yes, she will lose the Democratic primary. So she will not even be considered for a Senate seat, or she wouldn't be considered for the Democratic Party going forward. So you can cheer for that. Now, the next thing is that will she lose the Senate re-election bid if she was to win her Democratic nomination in 2024? Let's see. I always thought that if she was to win in some way or some form, it matters to win and squeeze out a victory in the primaries, she will end up losing to the Republican. So let's see. Will Kyrsten Sinema end up losing to the Republican candidate in 2024 if she was to win her Democratic primary seat, her Democratic seat, and won the re-election in 2024 in the state of Arizona? Will she still hold on to her Senate seat in 2024? Kyrsten Sinema. Okay. All right. So it was a little confusing at first, but I understand it. So we have the Ace of Pentacles here. Same thing. Empty promises. Did not promise what she was doing. Some Democrats are considering to even vote for her just because she's better than a Republican candidate who has support for Donald Trump and who is endorsed by Donald Trump. It does feel like she's gonna have this wave of support, and then eventually this wave of support is gonna end up being depleted. There's gonna be a third major party candidate who might be endorsed by many Democrats to defeat both Kyrsten Sinema and this Republican opponent. And then we have here as well, we have the Sun card. It looks like, no, she would not win her re-election bid if she was to run again in 2024. It looks like somebody else will run for the third party and will end up taking her and the Republican candidate down. So it does feel like, if anything, Arizona will have their first independent candidate in a very long time. So that would be interesting. Now let's take a look. Will Senator Joe Manchin lose his Senate re-election bid in 2024? Now there could be a yes. Now if it says yes, that means he might not switch parties yet. Now if it says no, that means he probably switch parties just because the Republican by the name will be enough to give him the next election or help him win. So let's see. Will Senator Joe Manchin lose his Senate re-election bid in 2024? Will he win if he flips parties? Will Joe Manchin win his Senate bid, again, a re-election bid in 2024 if he was to flip to the Republican Party? Will he win if he flipped to the Republican Party? Will he win? Yes. No, actually, funny not. No. No, actually, no. No. Okay. Interesting. So we have two opposing answers. So no, it does not look like even if he was to win, it's his almost fate is already predetermined. We have here as well, we have the Ace of Swords. This is my incumbent and taking the knife through the incumbent and removing him from office. Right? That's the card that showed up here. We have here as well, we have the Knight of Pentacles, and then we have Struggled. I think Joe Manchin, if he was to run for re-election, he already knows that he will lose, and he will lose pretty bigly. Now, if he was to not run, he will have to end up retiring, which would be this case where he considers not running. It could be potentially where he says that he's not going to run for re-election. As for the Republicans, if he was to flip to the Republican Party side, we have the Ace of Pentacles, which tells me that he may consider it to the Republican Party side. However, he won't have the backing or support from the GOP because it passed legislation that he supported, but they did not. We have here as well, we have the Ace of Wands. He will not have the endorsement of Donald Trump. We have here as well as we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 of Swords reversed. And what it kind of means is that he's not necessarily stealing it from the GOP. He's just adding to the numbers temporarily until they replace him. Then as well, going forward, he will not be able to have a very easy time being reelected if he was to become a Republican. So no, Joe Manchin will not do very well. Now, the next question that we're going to ask is, will both Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema lose their power holding the Biden administration agenda hostage after the 2022 midterm election? Now, this could mean two very different things. This could mean one outcome is where it says no, they will not lose their power. That means that the Democrats and the Republicans have a very easy a very hard time passing it. It is angel number right now. It is 10:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It could mean as well, if they said no here, it could mean that excuse me, just lost my train of thought. Okay, so if it says no, it basically means that oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna edit this piece out. I promise you. This is just live. All right. So if they were to say yes, if it was to say yes, what it necessarily means is that the Democrats either lose the House and the Senate, or it could mean as well. It could mean that the Democrats gain seats to where Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin had no power. And if it said no, that potentially means that those two same thing, what I just mentioned. Basically, I don't know why I couldn't get that out before. All right. So. Spacey and Angel Tommy, will Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin still hold the Biden administration agenda as hostage after the 2022 midterm election? Yeah, I might as well. Okay. Okay. I want to need more information on this. Can you add a little bit extra information, Spirits and Angels? Will Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin still hold the Biden administration agenda hostage after the 2022 midterm election? Can you confirm or deny that? Please, Spirits and Angels, please tell me. Can you confirm or deny that? Will Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin still hold power after the 2022 midterm election over the Biden administration's agenda? All right, they told me to flip it and then take the first three. Okay. All right, so we have here, we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of Wands here, and that's reversed. And what it kind of tells me is that Democrats never really had major victories or major legislation to ever be passed because of these two, right? These two menace. We have here is we have the Hermit card. Now, this kind of talked about unpredictability here. That's only when it's reversed, and that means the future is unknown. However, we have it outright, which means the future is known. Not as the first card that actually, believe it or not, came out of when I asked this question. We have here is that we have the Queen of Wands here, which is kind of like not in the case. I think it will be an insult to put Kyrsten Sinema as this card, but I do feel like when it's reversed, it is Kyrsten Sinema, and that's why it's reversed here. And we have here as well, we have Joe Manchin, who is the Temperance card. It kind of brings uneasiness to the Democratic Party, but the Democrats understand his motive for doing stuff. That's why the Temperance card is reversed. Now, the question is, will both Joe Manchin and the Kyrsten Sinema lose their power holding the Biden administration agenda hostage? I do feel here, as long as they still have money and wealth being coming in, they will still hold the Biden administration hostage as long as they are receiving that money or donation. So somebody is funding them and is preventing Biden from even remotely getting things done. So can you kind of, will they lose power after the 2022 midterm election? We have here, we have the Tower card here. So there will be a tower between the two. candidates, maybe some scandal that's going to come about between Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin. We have here money funneled in. I do see an open investigation into the money and the scandals and schemes that might be done, and they might actually direct some money to the funding or personal savings that might actually be caught up by the FBI or IRS that might go on the radar, and it might open up an investigation into the two senators, and they will lose the support of the Democratic Party. So it does feel like in some way either they end up losing, both of them end up losing, or it potentially just means that there's an investigation that holds their power and they lose the power and they kind of need to hold on to whatever they can. It could mean as well that their accounts are frozen. Hi, Sarah. It could mean that their accounts are frozen and they no longer receive any money. Now, as of the 3 cards that my guy told me to take out of my deck to kind of further get confirmation and understand what we're really reading here, we have the Republicans win. So the outcome here kind of tells me here already that the Republicans end up flipping the Senate. We have here as well, we have swing state decides, election of 2000. It's going to be very close in the election of 2000. And then we have here as well, we have the 52 to 48 Senate. I talked to you guys about that before, that there will be a 52 to 48 Senate. We keep seeing that number come up a lot. It could mean that the Republicans end up having, having the Senate 52 to 48 margin. It could also mean as well that the Democrats have a 52 to 48 margin. That means that Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin lose their power. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into the result of the Senate result in 2000. I kind of take a look at that, kind of see why it came up here. Maybe there's like some sort of significance. Maybe the speaker guys are telling us what exactly the election results are going to be in the 2022 midterm election. So let's take a quick look. Why does this come up New York? US. Let me put US. I'm going to show it up on your screen right now so you kind of can see what exactly I am looking at. Okay. I don't even know how to spell USA clearly. All right. So if you go here to the Senate results, hopefully this does not show up New York. All right, yes. All right. So actually, believe it or not, the ceased after the 2022 2000 election, it was actually 50-50. It could be very well. This could also mean as well that it's a 50-50 Senate. It could be also tied. So this would be very interesting to kind of see how this will play out in the Democratic Party in the 2022 midterm. It could very well end up in the same scenario as 2020, where we just have a 50-50 Senate and Kamala Harris is the deciding factor. That would be pretty bad for the Democrats. So let's see. All right, so next question. Will Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema cost the Democrats the Senate? And what about the House in the 2022 midterm election? So we're going to kind of take a quick look at that to kind of get more deeper understanding of what we just read on, just to kind of, dive a little deeper. And then we're going to end off with today's video asking, will Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema ruin Biden re-election run? So let's take a look. Well, Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin end up ruining the Democrat chances of keeping the Senate in the 2022 midterm election. Okay, one more. Thank you. This should be enough. Oh, okay. All right, so interesting. So we have the witch trials here, right? And I kind of talked about false accusation, black and white magic, execution, death penalty, and then biased court trial. So this could be about the Supreme Court and the nomination. We talked about this earlier in today's video, how they're going to end up trying to post Biden's nomination and say, let's wait till after the midterm election, which actually might be either very good for the Democrats or might be very bad. We have primary challenge, but that card is reversed. And what comes up here is we have historical leaders. And what it kind of tells me here is that historical leaders are the way to go and look at, especially with very menacing senators who kind of want to host their own party's agenda. Kind of take a look back at history and kind of see how other presidents fared during elections when that had occurred. Now, I don't remember that in particularly, but I do remember that the Democrats were unable to win a lot of the Senate and the House in the early 2000s. And same thing with during Bill Clinton time in office. We have here as well, we have illegal donations, where we're asking whether or not they're going to try to end up flipping the Senate in favor of the Republican Party just for a little bit of wealth or some family donation. We have here young voters, and it kind of tells me here as well is that they're going to end up trying to do whatever they can to flip it, and it feels like they're going to try to get the Republicans to be more enthusiastic to vote for the Republican Party in the Senate. I will end up saying here now that it does feel like they're going to try to flip the Senate red. Because we have Republican holds, right? But the Republican is not holding. Because the Republicans currently do not hold the Senate, which means that this seat here tells me it's a flip. So it does feel like in some way or some form, the Democrats are going to end up flipping the Senate to the Republican Party. It looks like, as of now, Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin are ruining it for the Democrats. Now, let's take a look at the House of Representatives in the 2022 midterm election. Okay, Spirit Science will tell me, will Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin end up flipping the House of Representatives to the Republican Party in the 2022 midterm election results, basically taking all power away from the Democratic Party because of money and income that they're getting on their own. You basically know the question here, spirits. Will the House of Representatives flip to the Republican Party because of what Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin did? Oh, that's not a promising sign. That is not a promising sign. Okay, we'll take these cards here. We have LGBT rights. Oh, okay, Kyrsten Sinema is really doing a lot of damage here. Okay, so it looks like they're looking at Biden's presidency here. Okay, so it hangs in the balance here. This is kind of what kind of feels sad here. It kind of like feels like, yeah, ooh, damn, okay. Biden's going to get destroyed. All right, so we have incumbency, right? We have the incumbent loses re-election, right? That's the next question, actually. We're talking about will Biden win the next election, and is it because Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin ruined it? We have here LGBT rights, right? We're talking about Kyrsten Sinema. Kyrsten Sinema is the first openly, I believe, trans, don't quote me on the trans, or no, bisexual, I think she's bisexual senator. Right? So that's why this card comes here. She's going to ruin for him. There's not Joe Manchin. It's going to be Kyrsten Sinema who ruins it for him. We have here as well as we have foreign interference, right? So there might be foreign interference in this upcoming election. We have the recession of 2008. So we have the housing industry. I talked about the housing industry, about the collapse and the Great Depression, which we're going to talk about more later on the channel. It does feel like by this time period in this hypothetical multi-universe scenario, this is one outcome of many. We also have here as well as we have high turnout. That it could be high turnout for both parties, or it could just mean high turnout for the Republicans or the Democrats. We don't really necessarily know. But we do have here as well, we have illegal donation. This card shows up again. So it kind of tells me here already that as of right now, it kind of looks already that the House of Representatives is going to go in favor of the Republican, but it does not state who specifically. Okay, so we have a 52 Senate to 48. We also have a 232 to 243 Senate seat that could be Republican, right? We have the 2000 election. Interesting that this card comes up, and then we also have here as well is 51 to 49, 188 to 199, which would be around par with the Democrats. So I assume this card kind of talks Democrats, with the blue kind of talks Republican. Right? And it's going to be a tight race. I think that's self-explanatory. I think a lot of us know that. And you can indeed expect the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, and Barack Obama and Joe Biden to be on the election. So definitely expect all the presidents to basically campaign for both parties to try to help hopefully bring in enough support and enthusiasm to get people out and vote. Because clearly it looks like this is going to be a very hotly contested election that is going to can go either way and can definitely change and alter the way the United States goes going forward, or even better yet, the Democratic chances of winning re-election in the 2024 presidential election. Now, as here, will Joe Manchin, Kyrsten Sinema ruin Biden re-election run? Now, we already kind of have an idea as that card already came up, but let's just ask tarot card specifically, as we have not asked that question yet. Okay, so Spacey Angel Tommy, will Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin end up ruining Biden's chances of re-election in 2024? Okay, so we have that card comes up again. There must be some sort of significance here going on with foreign interference. I wonder if Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin are being paid by foreign governments. Okay, I think we have enough cards here. A lot of cards came out, and a lot of these are challenges too. Okay, so we have foreign interference, right? In the election, we have foreign interference in 2024. I think that's not self-explanatory. We have here the swing state decides election of 2000. This state almost feels like the reason why the spirit guides are telling me this card comes up, because actually, believe it or not, Florida was one of those states who went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court decided the presidency of the United States in 2000. And so that could be why the card comes up, and why the card comes up in the midterm election, basically saying that we have to be careful who we put on the Supreme Court, because that will change and alter the result, maybe potentially in the 2024 presidential results. We have here as well, we have martial law. What I sense here as well, Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin are potentially being paid by people within the Middle East, or countries that are very corrupt, like China or Iran or Iraq or Russia even, like one of those countries. We have here as well as one of the main challenges in the 2024 presidential election is that Biden is a born leader. I think that's self-explanatory. He does not excite voters to vote for him. He only gets them to go out and vote for him if the other candidate is really bad. For example, Joe Biden in the 2020 election, a lot of people did not vote for Joe Biden. They voted for him against Donald Trump because Joe Biden was the better candidate than Donald Trump. However, in the 2024 presidential election, that is not the case unless Donald Trump runs again. We have here as well, we have the results are undecided. This is one of the challenges here. What makes sense why the White House is undecided. This could mean, and tells me here that potentially the result is unknown. Which is actually, funny enough, tells me the winner of the 2024 presidential election is unknown. Okay, ironic enough, right? And so we have this card here, which is reversed, and if you flip it, it's the swing states decide. So Florida, Georgia, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, one of these states or all of them will decide the next election and who's the next president in the next election. So definitely go out and vote. Make sure everybody's registered. Make sure you're registered. Make sure you check your ballot. Make sure you're ready to go out and vote. It does feel like as well, Joe Biden and Kyrsten Sinema will have a very decisive and a lot of power going forward on deciding who will be on that Supreme Court, and that Supreme Court nominee will have to end up deciding who will be president in 2024. This is more revealing news that I did not expect. So anyway, guys, I do hope you guys liked today's video. I hope you find it entertaining. If you have not already, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, a like, and don't forget to comment below what you do think of today's video. And before you do go, please as well go down to my community page and please give this video a like. And also as well, don't forget to vote on what videos you want to see next. Now, if you don't like the video suggestions in this poll, feel free to as well to jot your comments in that poll and kind of tell me what you would like to see soon, and I will add that into the next poll. Other than that, guys, I love you. Hope you have a very beautiful night, and stay tuned, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.